Hi everyone! Welcome back to another Engineering at Home activity. My name is Peyton and I am going to be leading you today.
This week we are going to be talking about a type of engineering called Bioresource and Agricultural Engineering, or BRAE for short.
This type of engineering is all about Earth's resources and their many uses in agriculture. BRAE engineers are responsible for things such as making sure you get the best food at the dinner table and making maps that help us study the Earth.
You could find these types of engineers doing things such as mapping out landforms like mountain ranges, or maybe studying what soil is made of.
Another important aspect of this type of engineering is finding ways to make agriculture-related tasks much more efficient.
This could be finding ways to create efficient water systems in complicated plots of land, or analyzing problems caused by a certain layout of land.
We have a very fun activity planned for you today, but before we start that, we're going to go over some important terms that'll help you in the activity. Our first term for today is going to be topography. Topography is the arrangement of physical features of land. So this would be things such as roads, mountains, cities, and lakes.
In this activity, you will be practicing topography by describing physical features in a plot of land. Can you think of any other features that would be depicted by topography that aren't in this diagram?
Our second term today is topographic map. This type of map is two-dimensional and is going to show you the different elevations of an area of land.
The picture on the right is an example of a topographic map of the volcanoes on a Hawaiian island. What types of information can you gather from looking at this map? Additionally, this picture is from the packet. This may help you see how each line corresponds to a different elevation.
The last term that you'll be responsible for today is land surveying. Land surveying is determining the positions of certain features and figuring out the distances and angles between them.
Here's a picture of BRAE engineers surveying a plot of land. In this activity, you will be exploring land surveying when you create your own topographic map.
Alright, we are now done with our terms, so now that you're thinking like a BRAE engineer, we are going to get started on our activity. So in today's activity, we are going to get a quick introduction to land surveying by understanding how to read and make some of our own topographic maps. Okay, so the first step in this activity is to gather all of your materials. So you're going to start off with a few pieces of just blank paper. You'll need some scissors to cut the paper with. You'll need glue or tape. I would use glue if I had it, but all I have is tape. Definitely recommend glue though. You'll need some things to color your pieces of paper with. I am using a variety of different colored highlighters. You could also use colored pens, colored pencils, whatever you have. And then you will additionally need page 4 of the packet, which is just a topographic map.
This is going to be our map before we make it 3D. Notice that the lines that make up the map are called contour lines.
And for those of you that don't have access to a printer right now, that is perfectly okay. You're just going to take one of your blank sheets of paper and you are going to draw your own topographic map.
And this is just an example of what a hand-drawn map may look like. This is what I'm going to be using today. If you do it this way, make sure to take a picture of your map before you cut it out.
So now that you have all of your materials, step 2 is going to be cutting out your pieces. So you're going to need your topographic map and your scissors.
To complete this step, you're going to take the drawing that you have and cut out the excess paper around the map. You're then going to place the map on your spare piece of paper and trace it onto the sheet. Now, take the example map, cut out the next layer, and trace the new shape onto your piece of paper.
I just finished cutting out all of my pieces and outlining them onto my paper, and this is what the final product looks like. If you're confused by any of the directions, you can go straight to the packet and it's outlined pretty clearly about what you need to do. If you're all done like I am, it's time for us to move on to the next step. Step 3 is going to be a little bit simpler now that you have all of your shapes outlined. All you're going to do is take your paper with your different outlines and color each shape a different color. So I'll just be taking my highlighters and I'll show you what the final product looks like. I'm done. I finished coloring everything. Hopefully you're almost done as well. Just notice that I made each of my shapes a different color, so they're very distinct from one another. And step 4 is also pretty straightforward. All you're going to need to do is take your scissors and your colored in shapes, and you're just going to cut each of your shapes out. So at this point, you should have all of your colored in shapes cut out. This is kind of what you should be looking like. I have every different piece, all different colors. I think I have 6 in total. Step 5 of this activity is going to be building spacers for your map. Spacers are going to create gaps between your layers, and it's going to help you see your map in 3D.
You can begin by taking a piece of paper and cutting it into long, thin strips. Then take these strips and cut them into roughly even rectangles. Take each of these rectangles and fold it into a Z shape.
So at this point, you should have a few spacers made. If you're confused at all about how to make them what they should look like, you can always rewatch the video that I just showed you, or you can refer to the packet. There's good instruction in the packet as well. So now that you have your spacers, you can take the first 2 layers of your map. These will be your 2 biggest layers. You are going to glue or tape the spacers in between. So it'll be like that, and then the second layer will go right on top. You're essentially just going to sandwich that spacer right in between the 2 layers.
And here's what my topographic map is looking like after I assembled the first 2 layers.
So now we have our first layer made. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're now going to repeat those steps of building these little spacers in between and adding on the next layers until you get through all of your individual pieces. Okay everyone, congratulations on finishing your topographic map. I am going to show you mine, and then we are going to go over some reflection questions about the activity and what we just did.
As reference, here's what my topographic map looked like before I made it 3D, and here's my finished product. As you look at your map, I challenge you to think of these questions. What do you think it means when your contour lines begin to get closer together? Also, what are some challenges that could arise from building on elevated land such as your map versus flat land?
Hopefully today's video helped you learn a little bit more about bioresource and agricultural engineering. Building topographic maps is just one of the very many important things that these types of engineers are responsible for.
And if you have any questions or comments about the activity, feel free to send us an email.
So thank you for joining today. I hope you had fun and learned something. Bye! See you next time.